I know Jay Sawvell. I said that correctly, right?
Sawvell, yeah. Closer than Dion said it. Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay, me and him are one and the same, I guess. Jay Sawvell. He was hired at the end of the 23 season. I think it was like December 6th or 7th, if I remember reading that correctly. He is in year 2. What has been the big difference from year 1 to 2 that you have noticed, or, right there, the pulse of Wyoming, you have your finger on the pulse there that they have noticed?
Yeah, I think just, comfortability. It was kind of, I don't know if risky is the right word for it, but it was kind of a risky hire by Tom Berman, the athletic director. Jay has never been a head coach at any level. He's been a defensive coordinator at Minnesota, Wake Forest. He was in the Jerry Kill tree. He was a coach under Lou Holtz at Notre Dame as he was a youngster, things like that. But he spent since 2000. He was under Craig Bohl here in Laramie, but first time head coach. So there's a lot of lessons to be taken from that, and we're all navigating a new time in college athletics. Last year what he does best is he's a player's coach, and the guys love him. So he was able to keep a lot of their market. However, he realized in a hurry some things he couldn't change mid-season. The rent came due at the linebacker spot, at the safety spot. They just didn't have the depth. And Craig Bohl, not to dump on Craig Bohl by any means, he was here for 10 years, the longest tenured head coach in Wyoming football history. But he was a big fan of development. And this is a development program, he would say, every day. Unfortunately, that can't be the case anymore. You can't replace guys who leave with high school kids. It's just not feasible this day and age. You have to have guys that are ready to roll and ready to play immediately. And Jay Sawvell embraced that. And he came right in and he changed some things that even ruffled a little feathers in the fan base, like letting them have names on the back of their jerseys and giving them a third jersey, things like that, that Craig Bohl just didn't dream of. So he's put his own stamp on it, but it took a year. And, it's still a work in progress, of course, but he brought in 50 new faces in the offseason as far as transfers go and freshmen go. And he's kind of starting to put his own stamp on things. Last year, they had a lot of injuries at key spots, and Evan Svoboda, the quarterback of the future, they thought just didn't pan out. He's now a tight end. But I think that kind of says all you need to know about Jay Sawvell. Evan didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work at quarterback, but he could have easily left. He could have been, we were in Akron 2 weeks ago. You're telling me Akron wouldn't give this guy a shot to be a quarterback still? They would have. And he stayed. And he stayed in Laramie. He loves Jay Sawvell, and a lot of these players do. He said in the offseason, I have a list of 10 players that we cannot afford to lose. And he says he kept 9 of them. So it's a big deal. And Craig Bohl really handled this program as a CEO and wasn't necessarily the rah-rah players coach kind of guy. And I would argue that nowadays you need a players coach more than ever, and that we're seeing those guys that are CEOs kind of, exiting stage left a little bit, because this is a young man's game now, and you got to retain your own players first and foremost. And that's what Jay Sawvell did in year 1. 3-9. Not getting it done. There's a lot of reasons for 3-9. There was a lot of growing pains, a lot of bumps in the road, but so far so good. There's 9 new starters on the defense, and they're one of the better defenses in the country so far through 3 games. So that's just a little example of what Jay Sawvell's brought to the table. And, I think people around here are used to bowl games. They're used to winning, and there were some things that really set the fans off last year. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag of love and not love right now. I don't know if I'd say hate, but love and disgust at some points right now. But it also shows that this fan base, though Wyoming is in the smallest state, population-wise in the country, there's one university and they're very passionate about it.